So, yeah, they're a different type of people.
Well, being this is the first opportunity, just to set the record straight, I was not aware that they had 3 shots. I knew about 2 of them, but there was 3 shots on the grand jury. Is that correct?
That's right.
Okay, and then there were 2 trials before they actually got it.
That's right.
Now, the question I have for you has to do with the word remorseful. But most of the people here and those that might watch this video are not aware of the circumstances that led up to the acquittal of the hung jury on the first trial, where the juror stated that you failed to display enough remorse during the trial. And, you know, for the record, after in good faith you went to the grand jury on 2 separate occasions and they no-billed you, the thing should have been dead in the water right there from their side, if in fact they were operating in good faith.
Well, that's probably true, but I don't think that the first jury or the second jury knew that there were 3 grand juries.
Right. And that's just the point that, you know, not just your so-called alleged counsel should have made that an issue right at the very start and alleged that, in fact, that Mr. Jarvis' character was not only not acting in good faith, he in fact represented bad faith de facto, because these circumstances had arisen prior to that situation there in Judge McBride's courtroom.
Yeah, and I agree with you 100%. You know, and you bring up a good point about the AUSA David L. Jarvis. A United States Attorney's job, #1 job that the law says he's supposed to do, is protect the rights of the defendant. That's what he's supposed to do, but they don't do that.
No, and of course that begs the question as to who they actually work for.
Well, yeah, obviously, and of course, you know, and is there an action going in the Supreme Court or someplace right now talking about jurors being paid by the state? Anybody hear anything about that? The jurors actually being paid by the state, and they are. You know, they're allowed a daily allowance. I don't remember what it was, but to be a juror, they get paid by the state. So yeah, so aren't you working for the state?
For really,
you know,
talk about 2-bit whores.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's getting paid by the state.
Well,
so
there were several Branch Davidians that were just recently released as well, and they have gone through just hell, literally, you know. And for that to happen, not just your case, but the Davidians as well in Texas, just, I mean, the light is shining on us to act, to come to our senses and realize that we're not dealing with people who act in good faith. I was also wanting to ask you, are you familiar with Aaron Russo's film, America from Freedom to Fascism?
Yes, I'm familiar with it, but I have not seen it, of course. And that's one of the films that I definitely want to see.
So you have a lot of... You know, I got to visit with Joe Bannister back in 2000 in Denver, he and D.V. Kidd, and I don't know, I know he was at your trial, I believe.
Yeah, Joe Bannister was there.
And
yeah.
Of course, when you get to see America from Freedom to Fascism, I think you'll really enjoy that. I would encourage everybody to think up a good question for Mr. Simkanin, because he represents a lot for us, and he's endured a lot as well. Thank you.
All right. Well, before the next question, let me just take the opportunity right here to really thank you all for coming out here. You know, I really do appreciate it very much that that you've done this for me, and God bless you all.
Well, I know that many of the people who are here are interested in legal matters and legal research and so forth, and maybe for those who watch this tape, I was court watching at the trial, and I was shocked by the amount of information that was not allowed into evidence. I was shocked by the way the witnesses were treated, and I just kind of wanted your reflections on that. You know, is it the motion in limine that the state did that, I mean, that was, the entire trial to me was a denial of justice. If you could comment to that.
All right. Of course, the second trial was predicated on the first trial. The first trial, I was allowed to submit about 75% of my evidence to the jury for deliberation. And I was allowed to use, I believe at the time it was 4 witnesses, expert witnesses. When the second trial started, Judge John Henry McBride said, we made some mistakes at the first trial. And he's saying this in open court, while the jury's sitting. He said, we made some mistakes and we're not going to repeat those mistakes. And he said, I'm going to summarily deny 100% of your evidence, Mr. Simkanin. And I'm going to allow you 2 expert witnesses. At that point, I'm thinking to myself, what do I got here? What do I have here? Mr. McCall, what do we do now? We'll do all right. And, you know, during the first trial, Arch McCall, he did a good job. He really didn't know that much about taxes and tax law. And Tom Selgus and Brian Malatesta and Tony, what's Tony's last name? Severino. Severino? Severese, okay, Tony Severese. Those guys worked their tails off to educate Arch McCall. And they did a pretty good job, and it showed in the first trial. But the second trial, something happened. We can all speculate on what happened, and I don't want to accuse anybody of anything, but something happened. And the man really didn't perform like he did in the first trial. Actually, I don't really, knowing what I know now, I wouldn't even have any attorney for that kind of a trial.